All right. Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday. I have so enjoyed watching all the Hacktoberfest streams that we've been doing as a team, seeing everyone else and the work that they're doing. But today it's my turn, and I won't say we're ignoring Hacktoberfest, but this is your regularly scheduled developer drop-in. It's office hours. It's your opportunity to ask any question you like about the Vonage APIs, stuff that you're working on, things that we're doing, our demo apps, you tell me. I know a bunch of you are doing Hacktoberfest, and I would love to hear how that is going. You will notice today that my co-presenter is the phone. I'm by myself today, but because I want to show you something new and I want to show you SMS things and voice things, then I have got the phone here so you can, just so you can see what's happening, because I have done this before and tried just like turning up the volume or holding it up to the microphone, holding it up to the webcam, and it is not really awesome. So today I've made a little bit of space and I've got the phone shared to the screen, and if I have done this correctly, I've got the audio as well. But I'd have to successfully make a phone call before we find out if that is the case. So thank you all for joining me. I've got Lauren in chat, I've got Chris in chat. Morning for both of you, so good morning, thanks for joining me. The chat is an ever-present co-host. Yeah, I mean, the chat serves many purposes. It can be tech support sometimes. It can be moral support very often. It can be entertainment. I greatly enjoy it. It can be like some sort of secret meeting because so many of you are here regularly, so you sort of get to know each other and check in on one another when you're in the chat here, and I really appreciate seeing that as well. Sometimes the chat is a sort of heckling. It sort of depends who is here. We have some usual suspects on the heckling front. And yeah, it can be more or less anything. Exy's here. Hey Exy, I don't know what time it is for you, but sort of middle of the afternoon for me. Sort of should have made a cup of tea first, sort of o'clock. I didn't, so that's not an option. Lauren says she never heckles. Well, I think never's a very strong word, Lauren. I think you could work up to it. But you are not a usual suspect. That much is true. So yeah, we're probably safe from Lauren-shaped heckling. You are more heckled than heckling, I think. I very rarely heckle, either from the chat or in real life. You know, I like to be a good audience member, whether that's digital or actually in person. I have one particular conference speaker who shall remain nameless, who likes to heckle me when I'm in the audience. I have explained many times heckling works the other way. The audience heckles the speaker. But the last 3 or 4 times I've seen that person speak, they have heckled me. So maybe I could heckle the chat. That would work quite well. You can't answer back as easily either because it's slower for you to type than it is for me to talk. So I definitely win. As always, we are here with office hours. The developer drop-in is just a chance for you to come and hang out with us, tell us what's going on, tell us what you are working on and whether you have any questions. I like to use the time in case there are no questions for stuff I want to talk about. So I always pick a theme, but as always, you are very welcome to interrupt the conversation, derail the theme, ask off topic. Is anything really off topic? If it's about code or APIs, then it's fair play as far as I'm concerned. Then this is the place to do it. Just type in the chat. If I'm in the middle of something else, that doesn't matter. I am here for you. It is your time. That said, I do have something planned. So this week, I want to introduce to you something that we've recently shipped, and it's come up in conversation. I know I've mentioned it once or twice a week, all year. but it's the new Go library. So we've released a Go SDK. It's Exy's asking how the Go SDK is going because they ask me that every week because I talk about it every week. It is released, Exy. We are at version 0.12.1. And that's been really important to us. You know, we try and keep our finger on the pulse of the different tech communities and some of our favorites. Do we have favorites? I'm not sure we do. Some of them are really well served. We have lots of demos. What we don't have is a lot of anything really for Go stack developers. And if you think about the kinds of things we do at Vonage with the communications APIs, lots of different types of communication, lots of web hooks and asynchronous communication going on, Go is a really obvious choice. And it's a very fast growing technology stack as well. So I definitely, you know, I feel like I've dabbled in it for a lot of years, but now it's really mainstream. So we know that lots of our community use it or would like to use it, and definitely would like to use the Vonage APIs as well. So we've been super excited to invest in this and to put together the library. Exy said, you seem to be passionate about that SDK, so it's fun to talk about. So passionate, Exy, in fact, that I rebuilt the entire thing as a hobby project at work in the last 6 months. So it has been a labour of love, but like I say, a really key community, a fun community, a good choice of tech stack. Like, it's a great fit for a bunch of our APIs. I think it's a really solid choice. And it was a bit of a struggle to get it over the line. But we did it. It's got a lot of our sort of general release APIs in it, and I have big plans. So I'm really keen. I know we've chatted about it, and I keep on sort of referring to it, but I've never really taken the time to sit down and give you a real clear overview of what this thing even is, other than me being like, oh, I'm so excited about it every week, which is great, but does not really let you get things done. Oh, thanks, Daniela. Daniela's saying well done. Yeah, it was a big thing. So, let me show you around. If I've done this right, then it should be opening a tab. Do you think I can find the tab? There we go. Right. This one. Perfect. Cool. So, this is the Vonage. Oh, look. That's exciting. OBS has decided it's on a specific desktop. Anyway, I can see everything I need now. This is the Vonage Go SDK. You can find it in the Vonage org. It's not linked with our others, but it probably should be. But you find it, just search on GitHub or something. And there's a few things that I can show you around. Here's the README with a bit of installation setup instructions and some usage stuff. Here's a good overview of what's currently supported, which is basically our general APIs and not our either restricted access or preview APIs. Under contributions, it says yes, please. So that sums up where we're at with this. It's a brand new release. There's so much that I want to do, but you can use it as it is. And I am excited to show that to you. So, right at the top of the README, there is two important things. One is the usage stuff, which is rendered via GitHub Pages. I'm just going to open that in a tab. And the other one is the link to the reference documentation. So, I should have opened that in a tab as well. Let's just get that in a new tab. Otherwise, I'll wonder where my GitHub page went. So that font is tiny, bigger. If you're a Go developer, then you are accustomed to coming here and looking. I'm just going to adjust my camera, sorry. I feel like I'm decapitating myself slightly. If you're a Go developer, you're accustomed to coming here and looking for Go documentation. So of course we have that. You can see the different packages. A lot of them are internal. There's some example stuff. There's some internal packages. They're internal because that's the OpenAPI source code generated code. You don't want to be relying on that. So to make that really clear, Go has a feature or you can mark those as internal packages, put them here in the package structure. The sub packages that might be interesting, and we will probably touch on today, are the JWT and also the NCCO. So both of those, the JWT, the JSON Web Tokens stuff, we talked a bit about this on a previous stream. JSON Web Tokens are authentication tokens. They will have information about what the bearer is allowed to do. You need to be able to generate JSON Web Tokens to work with voice or messages or conversations, so a few different Vonage APIs. And then NCCO, these are our call control objects. This defines what happens during a phone call, and I'd like to show you some examples of that as we go along, as I think it'll make it a bit easier. Go is a strongly typed language, so it's incredibly useful to have the strongly typed structures available rather than trying to just create JSON out of thin air, which is just annoying. Okay, so I'm gonna start. So that's the kind of package documentation with the root Vonage docs. This is all the stuff that you can do, and this is that font's tiny as well. I don't know if my eyesight is getting worse or the trends in fonts are getting smaller, monitors are getting better, more pixels, but I find I have to make the font size bigger on everything. Is that just me? Do you make your font size bigger than default, or yeah, I don't know. Maybe I just need to sit closer to my laptop. Not sure. Excellent. So this is the Vonage SDK documentation. So it's just a bunch of Markdown files pushed up to GitHub pages, showing a load of examples of different ways to work with our various APIs. Oh, Lauren, hooray, she says I'm not alone, and she also turns up the font size. Okay, that's good. I'm not actually going blind yet. I've broken these examples down by API, so you get all the different sections. Voice, the core control objects go with the voice API, so they're linked together. The number insight API, verified, different stuff that you might want to do. Now I'll take requests if there's anything you especially want to see. But we could probably start simple and send an SMS, especially because I have the phone plugged in. I mean, predictably, I've failed to keep it unlocked. So hang on a second. I travel with the phone, so I don't necessarily want to be showing the unlock pattern, and I'm not sure there's room in my brain for another pin for another device. My little niece, last time she was here, suddenly showed me that she understood how to unlock my tablet. I don't have any parental controls on it, so I just changed the pin pattern. Keeping up with the kids as they learn to unlock stuff. That's clearly going to be a challenge. That was a tangent. What was I doing? Okay, yes. Some usage examples. So let's start with, I mean, it's not the most exciting, but it's one of my favorites, and that's send an SMS. So this is the example. And if we have a little look, first of all, you create some auth from API key and API secret, and then you create an SMS client with that auth. Some of our APIs allow different types of auths to be supplied into the client. SMS is not one of them. It will always look like this. And then you do SMS client.send. So let's give that a try. I'm just going to steal this code like this and put it somewhere. Let's put it here. Send SMS.go. I'm a Vim user. Also, I am streaming from an absolutely ordinary laptop, so sometimes VS Code is too much. So it's just Vim today, but it should be everything that we need. This is going to be a standalone project, so I'm just going to create a package main and a function main. So when I do go run and this file, it'll run the main function in the main package and everything will be fine. So this is kind of the blank page moment for Golang. Awesome. So where's the code that I copied and pasted from somewhere? Cool. Now that's got some dependencies. So let's run go imports and see if it can resolve the dependencies for us. I already have the Vonage Go SDK local, like it's already installed in my Go path. So that means that Go imports can find it, and it can do the autocomplete on import for me here. Next up, I need to create some auth stuff, and you can see I've just got uppercase placeholders there for API key and API secret. So one thing that I like to do is, it's a running joke that every week somebody shares their secrets on the stream. Bad news, I'm by myself this week, but I'm still gonna try not to share my secrets, and I'm gonna show you how I even do that. Lauren says she would never share her secrets. Aha. Lauren, remind me who showed you how to rotate your secrets? Okay. So for this, I have a secret script called setenv that puts my Vonage creds, I've just realized they're still called Nexmo creds, never mind, into my environment. So when I source this file from this terminal, then after that I can do, I'm allowed to show my key, it's just the secret that I don't share. I can do this, and it shows that the value is set. So I have the keys available in my environment now, and I can read them in from the environment inside my Go code. And this is a really good way to handle variables without putting them into a file that you might, oops, commit to Git later. It's a bit weird to write code without committing to Git. That's not a command, git in. Without committing to Git, perhaps we should git init. And I could push these examples if you'd find them interesting. If you want to refer back to them later, then let me know, and I will do that for you, if anybody is interested. Getenv, that closes that key. What do we do without bracket matching? I do not know. That matches that bracket, that matches that bracket. Fantastic. So I've created the auth. Line 7 creates the client. Now I'm going to do sms.send, filling in all the variables along the way. So it's a from, a to, and then a message. And I think we can improve on the from, the to, and the message, if I'm honest. So this is the from. I know that I was using this is a Nexmo number that I already own. So I could go to the dashboard and buy a number and use it here. It needs to have SMS capabilities. I'm also clearly going to reuse it for the voice example. So it also has voice capabilities. It's a UK mobile number that I bought through the dashboard. Here's one I made earlier. And then let's use the number of this phone. Oh my gosh, Lorna, you need to keep the phone unlocked. So tell you what, we'll unlock when I'm texting to it. I extended the timeout as long as possible, but I think I just didn't appreciate. Also, this is clearly my work phone with actual, oh no, I unlocked it, never mind. This is clearly my work phone with actual work stuff on it. I can't put it in airplane mode because I'm about to text to it. That's how demo phones work. All right, let's do Alright, so I am gonna text that number if I can type. I don't need to set any options, but there are a bunch of things you can set here. If you need to set Unicode, that goes here. If you want to ask for a delivery receipt or anything like that, you would set that here. If you're interested in seeing that, let me know. I can build that too. Alright, let's see. We probably need to do something with some of this. If we get an error, let's at least acknowledge it or make sure I see it when I run the code. So I'm just going to panic. I wouldn't do this in production code, but it's good enough for the demo to make sure that I see stuff. And then I think we should just I am going to just put in this to inspect the whole response. What is that? Inspect the whole response, and I'll show you how that looks. And then you can kind of drill in and access the individual pieces of it. So if you look at where I got this code from, you can access, I don't know why I have grey text. This was a very default GitHub Pages. If anyone's looking for something to patch this Hacktoberfest, the GitHub Pages theme, maybe. I just chose it because it had this navigation thing on the left. Okay, so then when you could also drill in and access the response, it's the status field that we're really interested in because that will have a number in it. And if that number is 0, everything is going well. And if it's not 0, something's going really wrong. Okay, enough talking. Let's do the thing. All right. Cool. So I should be able to, I feel like I wrote too much code in one go. But we will try it anyway. Check the phone's still alive. Yes. Didn't run Go imports. Told you I've written too much code at once. There we go. So Go imports, which will normally happen on save depending on your editor setup. I don't have it set up that way, but I do have a little command for it here. We'll bring in the dependencies that you need. And let's try that again. All right, well, that was the response. We got a message count back. I'm having a look at the detail and the status is 0. And hopefully you heard the phone as well as saw the alert. And a big hello from the developer drop-in stream. Yay! Oh, and all the test messages from last time I used this code. Fantastic. Brilliant. Okay, so that's nice. Sending an SMS, pretty easy to, I know I talked a lot, but it was still fairly easy to set up. You should be able to literally copy and paste this and pull in the environment variables for your placeholders. So, yay, sending an SMS. What else would you like to be able to do with the Go SDK? And do you have any questions about this? Is there other stuff that I should talk about or show you before I move on? Trying to pause long enough both for the Twitch stream delay and for how long it would take you to type a message if you wanted to. Awesome. Lauren wants to see the next thing. Okay, Lauren, we're going to receive SMSs first. And that's a little bit more involved because it means receiving an incoming request to our code rather than just an outgoing one. So let's look at the handy example from the docs. I don't have everything yet in the docs, but I know that I have received SMS, so we can just steal that. Wow. In fact, this is awesome because it doesn't need any creds. I configure my Vonage account to where to send the HTTP payload, and this just listens. You can also add some security, and we can talk about that, but it's not required. I can straight up demo this for you, so I'm going to copy the whole thing. I'm going to put it in something called receive SMS. I'm going to put the whole thing in like this. Ta-da! And if you take a look, then we are going to look for a request that comes in with the path webhooks inbound SMS. And we'll look for incoming stuff and we'll just print some incoming stuff. This line 16, is what sets up the web server and gets things moving. So this is on port 8080. Do I want that on port 8080? Yeah, why not? I just want to be consistent. Now, in order for that to reach us, go run. Really? Go run. I can't type. Go run. I can't type even though I didn't change my keyboard, so you've all got to listen to the loud clicking. Imported and not used. Log. Huh. Well, that's rude. Just check our Go imports again. Oh, that's fine. Okay. Go run. That's running. We're on port 8080, but there's no way for the Vonage service to reach us. So we need to make a way, and I'm going to use ngrok for this. Now you've seen ngrok a bunch of times, so I'm just going to go with it. But if you have questions or you haven't seen ngrok before, just prompt me in the chat and we'll have a chat about it. So ngrok HTTP on port 8080, and I'm going to copy the HTTPS URL and use that. Then I'm going to configure that phone number that we're going to text to send the payloads to this URL, and then /webhooks/inbound-SMS, as we just saw in the code example. And for that, I typically use the... Do I have a lot of background noise? I typically use the command line for this. You could also use the dashboard just as easily, but I typically use the command line. So, Nexmo, what am I doing? Number, I can't remember. That's cool. It has a help command. I want to link my number to a particular callback URL. So it's this command here. Link a number to an SMS callback URL. So it's link SMS number URL. Ready? Nexmo, link SMS, the number, which must be somewhere in my recent history. There we go. This is why we use a copy paste buffer. And the URL, which is going to be made up of that plus webhooks inbound SMS. Okay, the number is updated. The tunnel is running. The web server is running. Does anyone want to text? Okay, I'm going to put it in. It is only a UK number. Please let me know if that's annoying. I will paste the UK number in chat. There we go. And I will text it. I think I can even type from the keyboard if I can find the window. Where it is. There it is. I found an Android window. Okay, fantastic. How do I send? Like that? Oh well, with my finger. There we go. So I'm sending it. It says it's sent, so that's a good start. And if we keep an eye on the... Oh, there it is. I was going to say, if we keep an eye on the ngrok, we'll see the request come in. And here it is. So my code gives me an SMS from the number that it came from, and the message that I just typed. Lauren says she only has a US number, so she can't. I'm sorry, maybe I should have linked up to a US number. Never mind. UK number, because I'm demoing and I don't want international texts on my phone bill. So I get to choose. I want to show you this request that came in though, and an Israeli number, says Ben. Okay, I hear you. See this in ngrok, the web interface? This is your friend. So we're going to copy the link there, and I'm going to show it you in the browser. So this is always useful, and if you've seen me do ngrok before, you've seen this before. Here's another message coming in. I got a thumbs up, thank you very much, whoever that came in from. So here's my message, and it shows you when it arrived. There's some other information here. And then the interesting stuff is here in the text. Also, if I did set up those different numbers for the US or with an Israeli dialing code, you can see which number it came into. So if you're doing an ad campaign with different contact numbers, but it's actually coming to the same app backend, that's fine, because you'll always get this information in the payload when it came in. So yeah, hi there from the Android phone. So that was super straightforward. And I think if I was deploying this to production, I would want to do the message signature check as well. But I actually don't have that built into the library. I think the issue's still open. So yeah, I'm not going to build that. It would be tedious to watch. But with the Android phone is a silly name to give a person. I'm just not really polite to my co-presenters. Sorry, Ben. Awesome. So we've sent an SMS. We've received an SMS. Where's the documentation? Home. Let's see. The A phone, says Benjamin. Yes. It's helping, but I think having it on screen like this, even though it's kind of clashing both me and the chat, beats me trying to like hold it up to the webcam, because it's just here as a screen share. Also, I loved being able to type a proper message with my keyboard. That was lovely. That was super helpful. See, I'm just clearing my notifications on the phone because looking at them is making me feel quite nervous. I'm not sure that's really... Oh no, there's another email come in. I can't keep up. Okay, awesome. So that was SMS. That was cool. That was fun. I want to show you some other stuff, so probably voice. But again, questions, keep them coming. And I will just hang out here and write some code. Let's have a look at the Voice API. So there's a bunch of things you can do with the Voice API. More than I can fit into the next, I don't know, 45 minutes or however long I'm gonna stream for. And make a phone call seems like a really good place to start. So let's see what's going on there. I have got this example here. Now it looks a little bit different in the way the client setup is working. And that's because the Voice API uses, instead of API key and secret, you create an application, and each application has a public and private key pair. So the private key is, you keep the private key, we share the public key, and then we can check that the two go together. And you need the application ID so we know which key it is, and we have a bunch of configuration on the application key as well. So those are things that we need to set up when we have the when we start a new voice project, or a new messages API project, or a new conversation API project, or you get the idea. A bunch of our Vonage APIs work that way. I see Benjamin asking me a question. I'm sorry if you went over this to begin with, but at some point, can you give an overview of the process of refreshing the Go library? Yeah, of course. So I'm kind of cutting corners with my demo because I want a bunch of main functions and I want to be able to do each thing independently. But the way that I would normally do it, in fact, let's go back to the README, or is it on the home? Let's go back to README. Is that you should just be able to import it, but most Go projects, like if you're building a real application with a bunch of dependencies, would have a Go mod file, and so you can specify which version of the library you want in there. By default, it'll keep pulling the latest if you do go get. But it will, if you need a specific version, then you can specify that in your go.mod, and it holds it all in the lock file as well. So the dependency management in Go is actually pretty solid. So I don't have that in this little demo app, but I feel like we should build something bigger at some point. If I don't do it today, then let's come back to that, because Benjamin, that's a really good question. Particularly as this is such an early stage library, you might want to keep on picking up the next features as we add them. I'm still working on the library, even though now it's live. I've got a lot on my wish list. If you have things on your wish list, you should open an issue. I mean, open a pull request would be adorable, but issues are also welcome because it means we can tell what it is that you wish you had. I am immediately writing myself a note for some of the stuff that we've already talked about today. And I'm almost doing my own user testing. So it's really cool to hear that. Benjamin says the jargon in Go is really funny. It's the gophers that really get me. It's just so cute. And the artwork of all the different gophers is so good. It's just a really fun, I love the language, but it's a really fun community with, yes, very fun language around it too. So that's really awesome. Okay, I've remembered to click the phone so it doesn't lock. Good. Okay, I derailed myself. Let's do a voice example. Gordon the Gopher is a great ambassador. It's all good. Whereas I don't have a gopher, I only have PHP elephants, but I have an epic collection of PHP elephants. I feel like if I pulled one off the pile, the whole lot might come down on my head, so I'm not going to. But yes, it's quite the collection. I have a few others, but they kind of get lost in the... I have Sakila, the MySQL dolphin, but she kind of gets lost in the stack of elephants. Awesome. Okay. Make a phone call. So we talked a bit about the private key and how that's different. So let's set that up next. I'm still running the ngrok endpoint, but I probably need to. And it will, I don't need to keep updating it, getting a new URL. It will stay there on port 8080 as long as I leave it running. So let's do some more Nexmo setup. Again, I'm going to use the command line for this. You could do the same thing through the dashboard if you wanted to, and if you prefer to see that, we can go and have a look. But I normally do it this way, so it's not even create app, I think it's app create. And this is one of the commands that takes so many command line switches that it also has an interactive mode, which I'm a super big fan of the interactive mode. And I think we're going to do some refresh work on the command line tool, so you'll probably see some of this coming by on everybody's streams. But yeah, this is one of my favourite things, and I'm pretty sure we'll keep it going forward. Go drop in is the application name, and I can enable as many different features as I want to for my application. I'm just going to do voice right now. We don't have support for the other things listed here because they are preview apps. Yes, use the default voice answer URL. Okay, so I'm going to use that ngrok URL. And this time webhooks is going to be webhooks answer. I don't need the fallback URL, but I do need an event URL, so we'll just paste the same endpoint webhooks event. And we'll write some code to handle this in a moment. So you can generate your own public-private key pair and provide the public key. Or you can let and the advantage of that is you never let your private key leave your machine. So for a very security conscious application, or if your organization has rules about that, you can generate on your side and supply the public key. That's completely fine. I am going to let Vonage generate the keys and save the private key locally. So I don't want to use my own public key. I do need to save my private key, or how is that going to work? Brilliant. My application is created. Now there's a bunch of output here. You don't need to read all of it, but take a look. This is the application ID. I'm going to need that, so I'll copy it. The command line has remembered where I am and kind of latched the information about the application there. There's some instructions on how to recreate this if I wanted to script the creation rather than do the interactive. I use this feature loads, step through it once, and then save the instructions, put them in some setup docs. And as you can see, we've got a file here called private.key. So I've got that private key and I'm ready to use it in my application. Great, we're set up. So let's stop running this and write some voice call. Voicefun.go. And I will go and let's just have this whole main function out of the docs because I think it's a good starting point. And then we can talk about what fun things we'd like our voice application to do. What button was that? Okay. I think I'm always this incompetent, and I press this many wrong buttons all the time, but I don't really, well, certainly nobody else notices when I'm not streaming. So let's get some Go imports going. This all looks good. Now I'm going to walk through this setup and try and make sure I've filled in everything that I need. Screensaver went off on the phone again. Really? Okay. So, path to private key file. Mine is very imaginatively called private.key and it's in the same directory. So that's easy. If you have your private key not in a file, then you can just provide the byte string instead of you don't have to read it from the file, and that's why that's two separate things. In fact, I think there might be a helper to take a file name and wrap this up for you, but anyway, I'm doing it this way now. Let's put the application ID that we just created into here. There it is. The private key. Okay, making progress. Line 14, creating the voice client. And then we start to set things up. Now, voice is a little bit more involved because it handles more than just phone calls. SMS, just 140 characters, 160 characters, and phone numbers. Voice does a bit more than that. So we need to be specific that it is a number of type phone and then give the details. So again, the from is going to be my Vonage owned number, which is here. And the 2 is going to be my mobile, which is sleeping on the screen, just cluttering the place up. Okay. Now I need to create an NCCO. Now there's a couple of different ways that you can do this when you're making a voice API call with the Vonage platform. One is to have the answer URL return some JSON. The other one is to just provide the instructions at the time that you start the API call. Either one works. I'm just going to put it in my API call rather than have it round trip and call back to me. I feel like this is a bit terse. Let's try and put something else in there. So first I've got a talk action. I'm giving some text. I've used a voice name here, but we're actually moving away from voice names to specify the language and the style. So I need to update this at some point, but I haven't done it yet, so we'll stick with it. Also, I was testing earlier and the phone was really quiet. So the level is, you can have anything from -1 to 1, where 0 is the default. I'm going to set this to 1 to just try and make the call a bit louder in the hope that you will hear it on the call through the, it's all wired in. We'll see if it works. You can let me know if you can hear Nicole, the voice name. She's Aussie, she's my favorite, calling in. Then we've got, this is the NCCO example. So we created that client up front, and then we just do this create call method and pass some options. We've got from, we've got to, and we're supplying an NCCO. You can supply, oh, you can see it here, commented out. If I undo the comment, you'll get syntax highlight. You can have from, to, and answer URL. You can specify the answer URL, or it'll fall back to the application stuff. When the call starts, it'll give us the call ID, and hopefully the phone will ring. So let's see what happens. Again, probably too much to hope that it's going to work out the box, but I am human. Go run voicefun.go. Okay, something happened. We can see events coming in on the post on the webhook endpoint, and then I only got one event, and it was a bad gateway. I'm not handling those requests, but because I'm handling ngrok, I can still inspect what came in. There's probably an error somewhere, but ngrok will tell me. What did I do? Huh, it says it's busy. Okay, bear with me. I'm just gonna unlock the phone again. Probably clear the... I've got phone signal. Did I do this right? This looks like my phone number. We've got a busy signal. Am I doing something wrong? Benjamin wants to know if they get to choose the ringtone. No, you do not get to choose my ringtone. I have to live with this. And if I get any other alerts or messages or anything, I've obviously got the phone on loud. So, well, we'll see if it's right. Bald-bearded builder says, we don't know if you did it right. We couldn't see your secrets. Yeah, that's how that works. How about a busy signal? Yeah, bald-bearded builder. I already unlocked my phone on screen once today. It would be silly just to run it again, wouldn't it? That would be really daft. Definitely shouldn't do that. Yeah. I've done something really wrong. Let's see. Maybe I've got from and to the wrong way around. Let's see. I can just double check. Let's go back and look at the code. Always go back and look at the code. Which will be in a terminal window somewhere. This one. Found it. Call from. Call to. Yeah, maybe I just didn't. Well, now it's got a letter in it, so it's definitely not going to work. Call type. Call from. Phone number. Paste. That's, I own that number and I have to own that number. Call to. Type. Phone. Do that thing. Yes. NCCO. Yes. Create call. I'm not exactly sure what's going on there. Let's see. I mean, I have one that I made earlier, obviously, so this doesn't work. I can just copy it back over, but it seems a bit daft. I'm getting a busy response from the Vonage server, but I mean, I have phone signal. It's here. I don't get an error. Let me show you what I get. So I get this. Oh, I got more than one event that time, I think. That's really helpful. So this is, oh, I got started and then ringing. It didn't ring though. And then answered and then completed. Huh. Like it hung up, but it didn't ring. Bad gateway, strange response. No, bad gateway. The bad gateway is happening because the request comes in to me to send me the notification payload to the event URL that I set, but I'm not I'm not handling that on my end. So it just hits ngrok, and ngrok responds bad gateway. So the bad gateway is all on my side because I haven't built the code to handle that part yet. And maybe we should build the code to handle the errors. No, the bad gateway is me. That's not Vonage. Vonage is sending me the valid data that you can see here coming in with the body, but I am somehow not actually getting a phone call. Don't really know. Let's see. No, I think this was I think ngrok can be super confusing, and that was a really good question that I should have already answered. So I'm sorry. Thanks, Exy. All right. So what will we do? We will dig about in the in my secret stash of other code and just see if I can. Got the private key, got the from the to, the NC. Maybe I broke the NCCO somehow. I'm just going to steal the from the to, the NCCO. I'm just going to steal all this code that I had before and put it in here. Like this. So I think the client stuff is right. Did I? No. Benjamin is... Benjamin got a text. Well, I want to get a text, Benjamin. Never mind you getting a text in the middle of the demo. I want to get a text or, you know, a phone call because that's what I'm trying to show. Ha! How annoying. Okay. So here's the stuff that I want to use that I had before. This is my stuff that I clearly got wrong somehow. And I think they should be identical, but let's have a look. Phone number from to. NCCO has got text, voice name, and level. Go Imports thinks it has everything. Okay, so Benjamin says, wait 1 second, you make a request out to the webhook and it returns a success and then your app can't handle it, is that right? So the webhook goes from the Vonage servers to ngrok, to my laptop via ngrok, but my laptop isn't responding on port 8080 yet because I haven't written that bit. So it sends me the events and I just very cheekily ignore them and use ngrok to inspect them instead of writing proper event handling on my side, which is straight up laziness, and we'll fix it in a second. But I should still be able to get a call even though I can't receive the events. So that's my story. That the error is here because we need to write the HTTP server piece to respond to the incoming webhooks. Right now, my code calls the Vonage APIs and requests that the call be placed with this NCCO, but then the events start coming into me and things are not happening. I'm just also going to put if I put my phone into airplane mode, is that going to break the USB debugging? I guess we'll find out. I'm going to put my phone into airplane mode just for a second and then back out to see if that just reboots the radio circuits. This is my work phone. It is not the most advanced technology on the planet. All right. Let's give it another go. I think it's quite cool that you're seeing a bit of debugging as well. So, oh, we're ringing. How handy. Now tell me if you can hear this when I answer.
Hello there. This is the Go library calling to say hello.
Okay, so that worked. What did I change? I don't know. Just pasted the example that worked previously. Awesome, so the audio is working. Great, yeah, have it all plugged in through the audio mixer object thing that brings my microphone in through USB, but I don't use it often, so I wasn't feeling super confident about that. Thank you for letting me know you can use it. So the audio is working, my call is working, so we could do some other stuff there. We can start adding things in as different NCCOs. We can build whatever you fancy, really, and if you have ideas, I'm happy to hear it. Meanwhile, I'm going to write the code that handles the events because it's a bit cheeky to just let ngrok handle it for us. When you receive a webhook, you really should acknowledge with a success response. So let's do that next. I will also take requests for non-ridiculous voice applications. Maybe we should just like do press a key and then we'll send back what key you pressed, something like that, because it's an extra round trip of webhooks, right? Or yeah, maybe we'll do some notifies and we'll watch them come in. That might be quite fun. All right, so I am going to put in some HTTP handles. So I'm going to start a server here. And we want to go on port 8080 because that's what our ngrok is listening on. And I need to set something up to handle the incoming routes. So it's all in the HTTP library, and we're going to do non-ridiculous. Yes. Handle func. So have Nicole call Paul's Pigeon Builder. And then what? A good metric. Oh, Exy, this is a good idea, Exy. Let's try and build this. A good metric, how long did the customer listen or recipient listen? Yeah, so there's a few ways that we could do that, but I want to show you both the ways that immediately spring to mind. Also, if you come up with ridiculous suggestions, I'm not going to build them today, but developer drop-in next time will be things you can do with Voice API and NCCOs. So I guess we'll put the ridiculous things on the list, and if I need to do some study beforehand, then I can. Right, so we're going to handle func, and that's going to be the route that things come into, which for the events is webhook event singular, I think. And then I need a function, and this always looks the same. So it's a response writer, and a request, which is, this one's a pointer to a request that comes in like that. So that's how that function signature looks, and then I just put my stuff in here using that. I can write to the W and read from the rec. Where did the semicolon come from? This is not PHP. So first of all, I'll just write a little response to the response writer. That's why that's there. And that's my successful acknowledge. So by default, that'll return a 200 because it hit us successfully, and I'll just send some stuff back. I also want to take the input that I receive and put it basically where I can see it. So I'll just print that as well, like I printed when the call started. I'll print when this is running. This has ended up in a weird place. I think it should go after. I think we should start the call and then the server. Let's put this here. Web server stuff to handle webhooks. Okay. Oh, brilliant. And a ridiculous. I love that. I haven't read the rest of this message, but Benjamin's message starts with the word ridiculous. Create a webhook so that if a telemarketer calls me, it connects them to an AI Nicole who wastes their time. That is brilliant. And I'm going to steal that and think about it. Definitely. Hey, Derek. Complaining about semicolons. Yeah, so you're mixing Go and PHP all the time. Yeah, I write a lot of mostly Go. I still write some PHP, but I still also write JavaScript, and I maintain a Python project. So like, it's just syntax soup everywhere I go. And yes, I absolutely sympathise, Derek. And you write C as well. Yeah, there we go. You write C as well. Whereas I only really write the web scripting languages most of the time. So we're gonna do, it's an IO util. We've added some extra dependencies here. So we need to make sure we run Go imports before we try and run this code. But I'm gonna just read everything in from rec.body. That underscore is a placeholder for an error response. I kind of don't care. I should it's going to be a string. I'm going to be able to read from it. I'm not bothered. Also, this code isn't going to run in production, so I can just ignore the error. If it blows up, I'll see it because I'll have run it from the command line and I'll be looking at it. So IOUtil gives me an array of a slice of bytes, maybe. So I need to cast it to string in order to be able to print it. I said I was missing some imports, so let's look at the imports while I run. Go imports. And there's the IOUtil and the net HTTP coming in as dependencies. Derek is saying the C gets dollars for variables sometimes too. That must have been going on a long time, Derek, because I know you've been writing C and PHP for a really long time. And the C is mostly the inside of PHP, I think. These are the things I think Derek does with code. I could easily be wrong. All right, everybody's still with me. It's going to do all the same things again, hopefully. Let me just unlock the phone, hold on. And then but we should also see the output. Where's my screen share? There it is. We should also see the output of those events in the program and return the successful acknowledgement to the Vonage servers, as we are supposed to do. Derek says his C is mostly for Xdebug. Right, so if you don't know Derek, he's the maintainer at Xdebug. If you know PHP, you know Xdebug. All right, happy to have introduced everybody. Let's run the code and see what happens. A bunch of things happened. It's ringing. It started. Here it comes. So we'll see these events come in real time. Here's the answer.
Hello there. This is the Go library calling to say hello.
Perfect. And there's the completed event coming in. So you could see those. It started, it's ringing. Then a bit of a gap. Then I press answer and we see the answered status. And then the completed status when the call completes. If I go and show you the ngrok as well, you can see now my events have started returning the 200 OK. So this is much more the right way to do it. Is to log. I'm just logging it here, but I might want to inspect those responses and then start to do things with the data on those responses. So there's a bunch of things going on there. When you work with the Voice API, and one reason why I want to focus on it next week, because I want to show you a bunch of Go this week, and I'm normally only live for about 90 minutes, is there's a lot of moving parts, and it's very typical to have this constant two-way communication, right? So you make a call, events come back from the server, maybe you send an API request to do something different, to barge in, to put them into a conversation. You can do a load of different things, and keeping track of that and understanding how to receive the incoming API calls and that kind of stuff, it's pretty full on. So we're going to do a little bit this week, and then next time I'll do a bunch more with you as well. Okay. Next up, I am going to lift Xy's suggestion for something we could build next, which is how long did the customer keep on listening for? And to do that, we're going to go and read the docs, because I think I know what I'm doing, but we're going to check first. So for this, we're going to hit developer.nextmo.com. Let me know if the font is big enough. And I'm going to read the NCCO reference. And for this, we're going to use a call control object called notify. There it is. And what that does is it sends a payload to a URL that tells you where you're up to. So you can do read the introduction, send a notify. The user is still listening. Because when the user hangs up, it just ends. It doesn't keep on going quietly on the server. It just stops. So we can do some talking and notify, some more talking and notify, some more talking and notify, and we can tell where they've got up to by sending a different payload every time. So let's give that a try. This example is coming into the event endpoint, and I think it does that by default, but I don't think I want to do that. I think I want to send it to a separate notify endpoint. Okay, so payload and event URL are required. That's fine, I want to supply them. So we're going to build an NCCO for notify with a payload and an event URL. And to do that, we're going to go and read the docs. Here, we are in the Vonage Go SDK docs, and I want to look at the NCCO module itself. Got a few different types of different actions here, but I want the notify action. Let's have a look. I'm going to create a notify action. It's going to have an action, a payload, an event method, and a string. So I don't need to set action. I can just create this with payload and event URL, which is crucially, look at the docs. Event URL is an array of strings. It's always an array of strings, and I am always surprised that it is an array of strings. So now I've made eye contact with it. Hopefully I'll get it right in the code, but if not, I've just pointed it out to you, and you can point it back out to me in a minute when I need you to do that. Okay. So we are going to do two things. We're going to add stuff to the NCCO, and then we are going to extend our existing event handling stuff to receive those extra notify things. Okay, so we're doing more stuff. So I'm going to do that. Come on. Did I lean on caps lock? I'm not sure what I did. Let's do that again. I'm going to really imaginatively call this talk to and make it talk to. And we're going to have it say something else. I do need to write some words here because I need some time to elapse while I'm listening to each portion of the talk section so that I can tell how far through we are. I need time to hang up is really what I want to say here. So I'm kind of showing this to you. And remember, if you're new to Vonage APIs and you want to sign up, then I've got the coupon showing at the bottom of the screen. So just grab that coupon and give you some credit to get you started. So if you don't have a Vonage API, give that coupon a whirl when you go and sign up. If you do !sign up, I have a special link for you in the chat. Okay, can't type. We knew that already. Gonna leave that level nice and high. And I'm gonna, in between the two, I'm gonna add, let's just put all the adds together because I feel a bit confused already. I'm gonna add another action, which is gonna be notify. And it's a notify action with, a payload, which is it's a map of a string. Brilliant. I might have to construct that first then. I wonder if I did an example of this. Maybe. Let's check the example docs. Oh, there's a whole NCCOs section. Oh, Lorna, you're so good at this. Here we go. This is how you do it. URL, data, and then an NCCO. I'm just going to steal this from my documentation because that's exactly what it's for. Thanks, past Lorna. Really appreciate it. Okay. Let's try and notify. So we're doing example.com webhooks notify. Yeah, but we're going to do ngrok URL webhooks notify. In fact, where's my ngrok URL gone? There it is. Wait. We're going to create that data structure. I think I used data again somewhere else, so I'm just going to rename this to be payload because otherwise data's not really meaningful, is it? I'm going to call it payload because it's going to go in the payload field. Right. In fact, I'm really sorry, I've changed my mind again. I'm going to call it payload 1 because we're going to do a few different notifiers to see how far through we get. So we're going to serve this whole NCCO that says we're going to talk, we're going to notify, we're going to talk, we're going to notify, we're going to talk, then we're going to end the call. And we should see those notify events coming in as they happen. But if the customer hangs up before the end, we won't see all of them. Making sense so far? Okay, so I'm going to do another notify event like this. And I'm going to turn all of the ones into 2s. And change the message. Second stage. I hope this is making some sense. And then we're going to do this again, but instead it's going to be called, we're going to add notify 1 and then notify 2. We can add some more if this doesn't end up being a really good test, but I can't for a second imagine it's going to work first time, so that's fine. I'm also going to add an extra handler for that extra URL. Remember that I did webhooks notify So I'm going to do basically that again. Webhooks notify. I think it's lowercase. Notify. We're going to return that friendly 200 and an OK. And we are going to dump all the string data, but I'm also going to put out something that indicates this one is a notify. So we're going to have a little bit of a thing. What button was that? We're going to have a little bit of a thing before, and I'm going to do the same thing for the events as well. So that, I mean, they look pretty similar is the worry. Let's have some shouty stuff. Always use asterisks to find your messages in your logs, or smileys or something else that's distinctive. I haven't tried putting sparkle emoji in, but I would love to do that too. Perhaps we should give that a try. Okay, so we've got a more complex NCCO now, and we've got things coming into a different endpoint. I have no idea this is going to work first time. I've locked the phone. Brilliant. I did increase the timeout, but apparently not enough. Okay, ready? In fact, let's clear the screen and then do it. I might be overcooking this. Oh, it thinks it's ringing. Oh, unanswered. Phone is here. It's not unanswered. You didn't phone. I don't have great phone signal, so I'm not sure if that's not helping. Last time I fixed it by putting it into airplane mode and back out. Not absolutely convinced that fixed is the right way to describe that. It thinks it's connected. I'm just going to give it another go. Some kind of lunatic just thinking of it differently. Oh, I'm ringing. Ready?
Hello there. This is the Go library calling to say hello. Thanks for listening to this announcement. It is greatly appreciated.
There we go. That's pretty cool. So what I got there was, if you can, I'm not sure this is the easiest way to follow it. Let's have a look in the, no, we can do it here. So the first thing we got was a started event and then a ringing event. Then we got another event, which was status answered, which is cool. Next, we started getting the notifies. So we got the first notify. That's when Nicole speaks, then we get a notify. Then it's the default voice, and I've forgotten who that is. That's rubbish. And then another notify, and then we finally get the status completed. So if I do that again, if I run the script again to make the call start, and then hang up in the middle, let's see if we can test the theory and get just one notify in the response. I need to be a bit more on the ball this time. Please ring. It thinks it's ringing. It is ringing. It is ringing.
Hello there. This is the Go library calling to say hello. Thanks for listening.
Interesting. I still got the notify of the second stage, but I don't think I should have. I'm going to try hanging up sooner. Ready? And then I'm going to abandon my demo and talk about something else. Please ring.
Hello there. This is...
There we go. So we did get the completed notification. We only got the first notify, but because the customer didn't hear the second message, we don't get, so they never started the second NCCO, then we never get that second notify. So Exy, this was your suggestion of being able to track how far through an automated phone message a user gets. So by adding the notify callbacks between the different sections, then you can kind of tell how far through people are getting. Another common way to measure this that we see a lot with our IVR type systems that a lot of our customers use is to track the different choices that they make in the menus and try to understand where they were going when they did that. So when they pressed 3 for customer service and then 4 to talk to a human, you know, how did that work out? So that's another way that we kind of track things and keep an eye on stuff, and that's a good way to track progress during a Vonage API voice call. Cool. So if you haven't used the Go library before, then I would be super interested to hear what your impressions are and how you get on with Go. I know a few of you write at least a little bit of Go, so you know, you've seen some examples today. And I'm really interested to hear those first impressions and whether you think you'll have a need for it, I guess. Stop running this. What else? I think. So we're going to say a big hello to Chava, who is a new follower on the channel. Thanks for joining us, Chava. It's lovely to have you with us today. I think there's a bunch of stuff going on in the Go space right now. I expect there to be more. This library, as I think we've talked about, in fact I'm sure we've talked about this on stream, this library has been entirely around, you know, we've built it ourselves and we've generated it from the OpenAPI specifications. So the voice stuff that you've just seen, here's the voice API documentation, here's the API reference in a new tab. So when you go to any of our reference documentation, you can download the OpenAPI definition, and that's a bunch of YAML, which is not that exciting. We also publish them all on GitHub in the API specifications repo if you're interested. So I've used that YAML as the source for the code. Now, if you've ever used machine-generated code, you'll know that it's not pretty at all. But it's, to get around that in the library, let's show you the source. Where's the library gone? Here it is. In the library, all the generated code is here in the internal section. So for example, we've just used voice. Here's the generated voice package. The machine wrote all of this. I can't believe I only wrote this 20 days ago. Yeah, I did. Voice was one of the last ones to go in. Not for any really good reason. Just, I don't know, I thought it was going to be complicated. I was right. But it's cool to have it now. Oh yeah, and I've got my phone on live and the meeting reminders coming in. So just oversharing with you today. As I sometimes do. So this is the generated code, and this is all made from a tool called OpenAPI Generator. And I think you probably wouldn't want to use this directly, I think is what I want to say about that. So instead, what we've done is written this, if we go back to the top level, written this wrapper code that does all of that for you and sort of just presents you with what you need to do get calls, to see all the calls that you've made, or the details of one specific call where we had that UUID. You can go and have a look. What was the duration? Who was the call to? When did it happen? And that kind of thing. So there's a whole bunch of functionality here. This is a rubbish way to look at it. Where did I leave the package documentation? It's here. I kind of want to go up a level. Don't know how to do that. We'll just go back until I find what I'm looking for. There we go. So yeah, I think if you have questions about the SDK, if there are features you would like to have, go ahead and open some issues. It's something that we definitely are going to work on more as best we can. We've had some lovely Hacktoberfest contributions on this library as well, which I'm really pleased about. And I've forgotten what I'm looking for. What am I looking for? Oh yeah, the voice client application stuff. Here we go. For voice. There it is. So here's the voice client. And so you can see here, this is create call, get call, EMF, hang up, mute, whatever. So you can send an API call using that call ID that my script output at the beginning, and hang it up or put button presses into the call, DTMF into the call. So you can teach your application to go through the automated press 1 for this, press 2 for that process. If you know what that is, then you can go ahead and do it. So that's really neat as well. There's a bunch of things that you can do here. I think we had some good chat this week. If you don't have any more questions, then I guess we can leave it here. But I'm super happy that I was able to show off what we have been talking about, building, teasing you on over the last few months. That's all merged. I'll share some links in chat while we're talking about it. Let's see. Probably just the GitHub homepage would be a sensible thing to share with you. Let's find the chat window. There it is. So go and check that out. And, you know, this show is only on every other Wednesday, but you can also take a look at what else is going on the Hacktoberfest streaming front. Click to see. You can type !schedule to get that, or I could just show you. Here's what's going on the Dev TV. So that's today. We've got, hopefully you saw it, the Hacktoberfest daily stream with Igor and Lauren was really good. Tomorrow is Noreen and Friday is Paul. So you've got some excellent people here. Here's developer drop-in. Next Wednesday at the same sort of time, you can catch the low code hour. And that should be a really good episode actually, because it's going to be looking at how you can contribute to open source with something like Node-RED. So check out that next Wednesday. Oh, I can't scroll. There we go. And then the week after, I'll be back, of course, with developer drop-in and Benjamin's ridiculous voice example and anything else that I come across. Usually I bring the inspiration for these shows from the questions that I answer in the community, whether that's community Slack or the Hacktoberfest Discord, or you know, I try and bring them together and share them with you so that if you're running into the same stuff, then you stand some chance of avoiding the gotchas and learning what's needed before we start. So yeah, happy Go langing, happy API calling. If you are participating in Hacktoberfest, then all the best with that. Check out our there's actually some good chat going on in the Hacktoberfest Discord. We are partners, so we've got our own channel over there, or you can find us on community Slack when we are not streaming, but we're here every day. So yeah, it's great to connect with you all and hear what you were all working on. I really appreciate you keeping me company today and letting me know how you feel about the Go SDK. It's just the beginning of something. I've got lots more blog content and examples to come. And of course, if you need anything specific, you can just let us know. I think it's always good to hear from you and kind of hear your questions. All right, and with that, I think I am going to call it a day. You all saw my meeting reminder go off. So I definitely should park it there, but I will catch you all on the internet. Bye.